Good evening from the Field House at Washington University in St. Louis. I'm Jim Lara, and I welcome you to this third and final Campaign 2000 debate between the Democratic candidate for president, Vice President Al Gore, and the Republican candidate, Governor George W. Bush of Texas. Let's welcome the candidates now.
We students here at Washington University recently got a close look at the debates.
There is an audience here in the hall, and they have promised to remain absolutely quiet.
Well, most of us only got to see the debates on TV. The closest we got was a police line next to the protest across the street from the campus. We did, however, get to hear one of the presidential candidates speak up close, the Green Party candidate, Ralph Nader.
Did you see him at that debate, the last one? I mean, he and George W. Bush, they fell all over each other agreeing with one another. And George W. Bush ran out of ways to agree with Al Gore. He started agreeing with Bill Clinton. And Jim Lara was begging him, saying, please tell the people watching the differences.
Before we go on to another question in the health area, would you agree that you two agree on a National Patients' Bill of Rights?
You may not have heard much about the protests if you don't live in St. Louis, because the major media didn't really cover it. But here's a little bit of what went on.
I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness, starving, hysterical. I should be allowed to glue my poster. I should be allowed to think.
So I think that's our first goal, is to get these issues out there, to make a debate out of them. Most people don't know about it. Most people don't know that there's reason that 44 million Americans don't have health care.
The fact that the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And
There are some Western European countries that have essentially abolished poverty. In our country, we have the highest percent of poverty in the Western world by far. If it's run by the people of this country instead of the giant corporations, can provide universal, accessible health insurance with an emphasis on prevention of disease and trauma for everybody.
I should be allowed to glue my poster. I should be allowed to think.
A lot of it has to do with who controls information. I mean, this commission controls information. They control which candidates are going to be in front of that TV camera on October 17th. You know, the corporate media controls newspapers. There's a giant corporation-controlled internet agency that controls internet standards, and that's not a democratically run institution, yet they're making decisions on information distribution. And that's the fundamental problem, for me at least. I can't speak for the coalition, but for me it's about getting information out there.
I should be allowed to shoot my mouth off. I should have a calling show.
the more involved in this protest I've gotten, the more angry and pissed off I've been, and the more disinclined I've become to vote for Gore.
I talk to people all the time who tell me, well, I'd like to vote for Nader, but basically it's either going to be Bush or Gore, so I've got to vote for Gore.
I don't vote on the next 4 years because really I think, there are some differences, about privatization of Medicare and, some different things. But they have a little bit of a different stance. Nothing that is going to really, I don't see, change the future of this nation. I vote as a long-term voter. I say, I believe that we can change it. I don't want it to be the way it is anymore. I don't want to vote for the lesser of two evils.
Because when you choose the lesser of two evils, that's exactly what you get. And the lesser of two evils gets eviler and eviler every year.
I should be allowed to think. I should be allowed to think.
I feel like there's so much apathy among our generation and it's kind of silly because we're such a wealthy generation. Like, there's so many well-educated people, and
it feels like the level of involvement of most citizens is watching the TV and arguing with their family. This democracy we created doesn't really encourage individual participation. And most people don't vote, but those who do vote feel that that's enough.
It's not enough to be concerned about the plight of people in this world of ours where 6 billion people are trying to live and eke out a living, with 1.5 billion people trying to make it on less than $1 a day.
I am not allowed to ever come up with a single original thought. I am not allowed to make the criminal government agent who oppresses me.
no one action is going to save the world. No one action is going to change it.
You know, it's like the expression, to move a mountain, you have to start by moving small stones. I think you can raise awareness, you can get your message out.
You know, if you share people kind of one-on-one, your intelligent reasons of why you have issue with the debate, why you have issue with the candidates, you know, they're like, oh, I didn't realize these kind of things. You know, it can bring people to light. And, you know, they may not vote for Nader, they may not vote on justice issues, but they're more aware of it.
There's just one thing I want you to believe, and that is, with the most modest organization of your power as people, you can take back your country and say to those giant corporations that they are going to be your servants, not your masters.